Welcome to the Blue Oasis Podcast. This is the podcast for finding peace and prosperity, learning the history of hobbies, as well as developing a little side hustle. If you want to find peace and prosperity in your life, this is your show. Get ready. You're listening to the Blue Oasis Podcast. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And welcome back to the Blue Oasis Podcast. With me today is Angela Fowler. Angela, how are you?
Doing well. How you doing?
Doing great. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in California, Northern California. I'm a mom, and I'm a blind business owner. I'm totally blind, which you may or may not be able to tell. I don't know. But I run an accessibility consulting company. So basically, what we do is we teach businesses how to make their products and services accessible to people with disabilities. And it turns out that when you do that, you also make them user friendly for everybody else. So you attract customers from all walks of life, and you keep them because they can use your products easily.
Nice, nice. How do you manage being a blind accessibility consultant? Do you use certain software to get your daily tasks done? And how do you just go about preparing for your day?
Well, so in terms of software, I use the JAWS screen reading software. So what it basically does is it reads text on the screen. So while you will use your eyes and the mouse to navigate the computer, I use the JAWS screen reading software and I use a keyboard. So I'm just going to tab through the Zoom window here a couple times and you can hear an example of speech.
Meeting information button.
Meeting information.
New button. Video content. Mute currently unmuted. All day button.
Mute currently unmuted, which is a good thing. So it's basically, it's walking me through the controls as I tab through them. And if I wanted to mute myself, which I don't, I would simply hit the space bar.
Yeah. And on my end, I just hit Control Alt on my side to mute it, or I just use the mouse personally. So what challenges have you overcome in the past?
The challenge I think that blind people face, or people with any disability face, is low expectations from society. Society doesn't understand how we do things. I mean, I would be willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of your audience had not heard a screen reader. So they don't know how we do things, and they can't imagine how they would do those things if they were to become disabled. So they follow that to its, quote unquote, logical conclusion and assume that we are incapable of doing things.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like you also are how do I put this? Like you're underestimated a lot when you know that. I mean, I'm just on the autism spectrum, but I'm like high functioning.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. And it does get you down at times too when you know and and you are overlooked and I'll tell you, it's not an easy thing to deal with.
Well, it's frustrating to have to explain blindness 101 over and over and over again. It is. But, that's life, and everybody has challenges in life. So you just go through it. You gotta, in order to succeed, in order to do what you want to do in life, you gotta push through those things.
Of course, of course.
And you really gotta laugh at the annoying stuff. If you don't laugh at the annoying stuff, it'll start getting you down.
You know what? You're right, because, and also some people are just joke. You can say that someone is a joke in a sense because because it's like they are acting a fool at times.
The you get the person who is just astounded that I can do some basic thing like, you can sign your name? Yes, sweetheart, I can sign my name. But you gotta laugh, right? You gotta laugh. And the truth is, if you think about all the people you come across during the day, most people don't have that attitude. Most people don't respond one way or the other to your disability, you know. And, some people will be like, hey, yeah, cool, Um, so you get a few people that are knuckleheads, but like bad drivers on the road, it's the knuckleheads that stand out to us.
Stand out the most, indeed. Um, Now you have an or a beef jerky company. Do you want to talk about that?
I had a beef jerky company. My goodness, you've done your homework.
Yeah.
I used to make beef jerky, a homemade beef jerky, and sell it to family and friends. I had a lot of friends in the blindness community, and I built up a trust there. So I sold. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear him, but my dog is sitting outside of my bedroom door whining because I have not let him in yet.
Okay.
So, you know, he'll live. He's fine. He's just a big baby. I'll let him in when we get done. But with inflation and things got so high that I just stopped making the jerky. But it was something that and still is something that I'm pretty widely known for in the blindness community. They know me more for my jerky than for my accessibility business.
Was the jerky organic? Was it grass-fed beef?
It was not. I got beef from the higher end grocery store. They had the best quality beef in town. Um, it wasn't organic per se. I never claimed that. I never claimed it was grass fed. I did make a gluten-free jerky that I could claim was gluten-free. But no, I never, kosher and all that. I never could make that claim. I'm not going to claim something that I don't know for a fact is true.
Okay. Okay. But now I have to ask, how did you go about marketing the jerky, or was it just to friends?
It was to friends. It was word of mouth. We had, I don't know how familiar you are with the blindness community, but there's two blindness organizations. I was a member of one of them, and we have a convention I'm still a member of it. And we have a convention every year. There's like 2,500 people that go, and I take my jerky to convention and sell it. And sometimes I'd randomly break open a bag at that session and start passing it around and sampling it to people. But yeah, it really it was word of mouth. And there was a few blindness specific websites that you pay $5 and you can post an ad and it's visible until enough people post that it's not visible anymore. But that was basically it. I I started the process of going commercial at one time, but it just wasn't something that I could see myself doing long term on a massive scale. Um, I'm much better at teaching and coaching, and I have a passion for accessibility. So you do what you're good at, and you do what you really love doing. I like making jerky, but I don't love it enough to do it for the rest of my life.
So talk to me about teaching. How do you go about teaching? And I'm trying to put this in the best way I can. So teaching and just and helping people understand topics.
So first you got to show them the why. If somebody knows nothing about accessibility, you've got to show them the why. You've got to show them the real life human benefit. Because if you don't, then they'll look at it as a compliance thing. And when they look at it as a compliance thing, they'll do the minimum. Just like everybody else does when they're compelled to do something by some higher government power. But if you teach them the why, and then you follow that up with the benefit to them, the increased revenue, the increased reputation, then they're going to buy into it 100%. And once that happens, I offer webinars. I offer group coaching. People learn in different ways. So you got to offer a variety of different offerings. Some people offer, some people want to read articles. Some people like group, to listen to webinars. Some people like one-on-one. Some people need that. That one-on-one.
Of course, of course. And personally, I need hands-on, like I need to go through the entire process of things and just to learn it because like you can show me the instructions to like let's just keep it simple and say building a Lego set, but if I am not actually doing it, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to solve the puzzle, so to speak. Like I
And
need to
something,
be,
yeah.
yeah, I need to be,
So,
sorry,
so
go
you
ahead.
might benefit from what I call my well, some form of web audit, be it my harm reduction audit, which is basically flagging the most egregious things, or my comprehensive website audit. And what I do with clients that request those services is I'll audit the website, I'll send them a comprehensive report, and then I'll have a follow-up meeting where we go through everything they need to do. I explain all the items on the report. If they got it, they do the thing. We have a follow-up meeting. And if they want additional training, I'll they can purchase additional training from me. But then, and we're talking about a website because my background is in web accessibility, but we do other types of accessibility as well. Um, but yeah, in that case, you have a practical project to work on, something that's important to you, so you're invested in it. It's not some random homework assignment they make you do. And yeah, some people learn best hands-on and when it means something.
Absolutely. Now, I think I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but when did you begin reallifeaccess.com?
Earlier this year. So I got a job. This dog. I got a job in 2021, working on the Department of Veterans Affairs website. And it really changed my mindset and really set me on the path to the mindset that I have now. Because I started working with designers and developers with varying degrees of knowledge about accessibility. And I realized most of these folks want to do the right thing. The overwhelming majority of people want to do the right thing. They just don't know what the right thing is. And by showing them, even the people who were resistant, by showing them the why, by showing them that what the right thing and that there is a right thing, I was able to take them from resistant to, in some cases, some of my biggest advocates. And so I went from there to, in 2002, I started another venture, and that venture was a partnership, and it didn't work. A wise man once said that no ship sinks faster than a partnership. Well, this one sank. Um, so 2023, I sort of regrouped and refocused and built my flagship course series. And in 2024, I launched Real Life Access, which is my own business. I hire people, but I have advisors.
And what do you do and how do you go about working with your advisors?
Can you explain the question? I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Yeah, how do you go about your advisors? How do you work with them exactly? Or what, I'm sorry, what do you work on with them during the day? Are they present? Are they uh sorry about that. Okay, so what is so when you're
I
working with your
I think I know what you're getting at.
okay, yeah.
Um, we're a remote company. There are a few people that I hire. I pay them a certain amount per month to do certain tasks. The one thing about business is if you can, you want to outsource the things you're not good at so you can focus on the things you're good at. Um, Others are coaches, mentors. So I talk to them, periodically, you know, once a month, once a few times a month, whatever the case may be, and we discuss whatever's coming up in the business.
Okay, and yeah. How many employees are working with you remotely
I've got 3 people that work for me part-time.
part-time? No full-time employees?
No,
No.
no, I'm not there yet. Someday perhaps, but not now.
Okay. Um wow, this is going quicker than I thought. Um so so yeah, I mean, so what are your sales like? Or revenue, or how or revenue. Do you mind me asking that?
Let me tell you a little bit about my services because we offer a number of different things. We offer what I call my flagship course series. And it's a course series that covers the 3 categories of accessibility. So there's a basic overview course, and then there's 3 more in-depth courses. There's physical accessibility, which is basically the accessibility of everything in the environment. Digital accessibility, which is, like we discussed, web accessibility, accessibility of everything that comes to you electronically. And then there's cultural accessibility, which is more how are you supposed to be in response to disability. And the premise of cultural accessibility is that difference is ordinary.
Okay.
So I have my flagship courses, and next year I'm going to launch a couple of membership plans based on the 4 courses. So you get the courses, you pay a monthly fee, you get the courses, and you get, in the low tier, you get the courses and you get the monthly office hours. And then in the higher tier, you get the courses and you get specific webinars, live webinars that I'm going to do. And you get the office hours, and you have access to the replays of the webinars. You can request webinars, yada yada yada. And then I offer my group coaching cohorts that I think haven't quite figured out when the next one's going to start. I think it's going to start in April. Um, and then my one-on-one coaching and consulting. Um, So these are services we're going to get into hiring, merit-based hiring. Here at the end of Q1, we're going to launch a course on that, and that's going to be another category of service we can offer coaching companies on how to hire people based on skills rather than based on perception of disability. Um, And we also do auditing and remediation. I have a team of people that I partner with. They're not in my employ, but I do partner with them on projects where more advanced remediation of a website is necessary.
Okay. Maybe all right, I'm going to go back to the basics here. So what separates you from other accessibility experts in your field?
Two things. Yeah, two things. One, I have the lived experience. I'm totally blind. I do have a hearing loss. Um, Now there are other accessibility folks with disabilities. That does not make me that unique. It makes me somewhat unique. But what really makes me a unicorn is that I take a pro-business approach to accessibility. I talk to businesses not about how accessibility is for us disabled people over there and you need to not discriminate against us disabled people. No, 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 no. That's not the approach I take. I take the approach of, look, you're leaving money on the table by not being accessible. The buying power of people with disabilities is over $2 trillion. When you see government statistics on disability, they are not counting seniors.
Wait, repeat
Ex-
that last part. They're not counting seniors? I don't
yeah,
understand.
so if you see most of the time, if you see a government statistic on disability, they are only counting the 18 to 64-year-old crowd. They're leaving seniors out of their figuring. We count seniors.
That's amazing.
So I know, I know it is, and it's ridiculous, is what it is. Um, I tell people, look, you either have a disability, you know somebody with a disability, or you don't know you know somebody with a disability. So it really is in the business's best interest to invest in accessibility. And if the business doesn't have maybe they got a low budget, maybe they're taxed with other things, I say, okay, let's start this process and let's fix the biggest things first. And let's put an accessibility statement on your website saying we're working on accessibility and here's what we're doing. Because if you do that, you want to talk about the legal aspect of it, and it is the elephant in the room. If you do that, you're going to be a lot less likely to be sued. I can't guarantee 100%, but I can tell you you're going to be a heck of a lot less likely to be sued because the great majority of civil rights lawyers are looking for one of two things. They're looking for righteous cases, people that are blatantly discriminating, or they're looking for easy wins. And you're certainly not blatantly discriminating if you're working on accessibility, for heaven's sake. And you're not an easy win because a judge will see that you're working on it and say, why are you suing those people?
Of course, of course. Um, okay. So yeah, and so I have audiobooks. And this isn't necessarily, and not to toot my own horn here, but anyone who can hear can still have audiobooks, and I also put them in at least some form of print, whether that be digital or physical. Um, yeah, is there anything else I would need in that for accessibility access that I could Braille maybe?
Well, there's a couple things. I'm assuming accessibility of your business, right? That you might not think about.
Yeah, yeah, there's a few things.
Okay. So a couple things come to mind. The first is your social media posts. Um, make sure your memes and your things are described. The second thing that comes to mind is advertisement. If you buy advertisement, make sure make sure that they know what's being advertised. I've seen so many advertisements either on YouTube or just randomly online on Google, whatever, and I have no idea what is being advertised.
Is that because there's um no transcription, or is it that the advertisement itself is relying on images and video for people to get the message.
It's relying on images and video. The thing that's being advertised isn't stated. And in terms of a digital ad, maybe the digital ad is a picture that's not described. Maybe it's a link to a website that isn't labeled. Um, like what the heck is this? And of course, we're not going to buy what we don't see. I've listened to podcasts and I have bought things because I hear them advertised on a podcast and they seem to solve a problem. Maybe it's a healthy food choice that's supposed to taste good. Maybe it's something for my fur babies. Maybe whatever. But I hear it advertised on the podcast and I think, I want to check into this. But if I don't know what the heck you're trying to sell me, I'm not going to buy it. I'm just going to skip over the ad because it's annoying.
Of course, of course. Even to me, like there are some like awful audio ads too, and then it's
I could
like
go the rest of my life without hearing a Geico ad.
I I mean
Just saying.
I I know a few friends who work at Geico. So they've got
You can quote me.
okay, all right, got it. The so there's a Tide Pods audio commercial and like even when I'm on a run, I'm not seeing them, like, oh yeah, yeah, pass me the intercom thingy. Or I'm not I know they're at the store, but it's like I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And it's more annoying than anything. And
What's
I'm
the
also not seeing the actual product too. So that is
How is this advertisement going to convince me to buy the product?
yeah, yeah. And it's just more annoying than anything else.
Yeah,
And it and and maybe it does solve a problem, but I'll just go right to your but but I might just go right to your competitor if you produce a bad ad,
right.
sort of thing. Whew. Yeah. Going back to accessibility advertisement, Facebook ads. Do they provide some sort of accessibility access um or description, or is it that I have to actually
It
have
depends on how they're done. So images need to have alt text, and the text of the advertisement needs to give me some actual information on what's being advertised. I'm trying to think. I'm usually able to identify Facebook ads and what's being advertised because it links to the website. So yeah, I think those are for the most part okay. I'm just trying to I'm just going from memory here. Because it'll say sponsored and it'll say like, I don't know, balance of nature or something, and you know, it'll go through its, blah blah blah.
now when I do add an image to an advertisement, is there a way I provide alt text to that? Because it's not like coding a website to my knowledge, where I
Yes,
can
there
just put
is, and yes, there is, and Facebook changes it all the time. You know how where you edit the image?
yeah.
In that, there should be an option to add alt text. Um, but it's something that most Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, all those guys have the option. It's just in a different place for each social media platform and it changes all the time.
Of course, of course. Um,
'Cause, they can't make it easy.
they cannot. Um,
Oh, and memo to app developers. Your new and improved app doesn't impress me if I have to learn how to use it all over again.
yeah.
You might be excited about your new and improved app, but I'm not.
Okay. And that also is a little bit of another thing too that could also bog me down. Apps. Um, there's audiobooks.com. They have their own app. Audible has their own app.
Mhm.
Um, um, and I get so when they do update that, you do struggle to learn the new you know, the new software on it at first, right?
Yeah, and most apps, and I was talking a little smack there, but most of Audible is consistent. I mean, Audible works pretty much the same way it has for years. SiriusXM had the way of making major changes to things. Um, Stop it.
Oh, that's your dog?
No, I was that was I was talking about Sirius. My dog actually stopped. I think my son might have intervened there.
Oh,
Yeah, he must have heard that I was on a podcast and he must have taken Puppy with him.
yeah.
So, but no, I was referring to the fact that SiriusXM needed to stop making major changes to their app.
Yeah. And like even for a guy like me, I'm like enough already. Like and I liked this version
Right?
of YouTube's app better than the other one. And then they moved the comments section, they removed the dislike button sort of thing. It's like enough already, sort of thing.
Yeah, and the way that when we're using our favorite technology, we're on autopilot, right? We don't want to have to think. And when you make us think, app developers and software developers, we your customers don't like that.
Yeah. And if you do want to think, I mean, play the games like from memory games or something that's going to train your brain sort of thing, you know.
Well, or learn a piece of software that you've never used before.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But when you go to use something you're familiar with, you shouldn't you don't expect to have to expend mental resources on that. No, there's a million ways to challenge your mind.
Well,
Go on podcast interviews. You get better at them all the time. You should have heard me a year ago.
and how many podcast interviews have you done?
Oh, good Lord. I don't even know at this point. This is my third this week. I got another one tomorrow. I just got on Podmatch, so I'm getting more and more. And then there's a couple of Facebook groups that I'm booking from. So,
Okay, okay. I'm gonna pull this
but
up.
you get better. You become more comfortable with it. You're not as nervous. You don't make as many mistakes. You incorporate the mistakes you do have in your speech. When your dog whines during an interview, you just sort of acknowledge it and then brush it off. It
Yeah,
doesn't distract you.
yeah. Do you have any final thoughts and advice?
Accessibility benefits everybody. If you don't know anything else about accessibility, and again, get in touch with an accessibility consultant. My information is going to be in the podcast description, and everywhere else that it is. But if you don't know anything else about accessibility, think user experience. Put yourself in the chair of the user and know that not everybody navigates with their eyes and not everybody navigates with a mouse in terms of digital.
Okay. Okay. Oh, and the promotional links, it is reallifeaccess.com. That's your main one. Do you have any other promotional links you want to send me?
Go to www.reallifeaccess.com. It has all the things. If you subscribe to my newsletter, you get what did they call it? My marketer gave it some fancy name that I can't remember, but it's the top 10 things businesses can start doing right now to make their business accessibility jumpstart kit. That's what it's called. It's my jumpstart kit. And it's a list of 10 highly actionable things that you can start doing to make your business accessible.
Okay, okay. And on your website, it has the Instagram, the Facebooks, and the YouTube links. Do you have any of those links that you want me to put in the description?
It has Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X. I can send you those links if you just send me your email address,
Okay, I can put
or
my email in
message
the
it via,
chat.
yeah, or message it. If you put it in the chat, Jaws will yell it.
Um, that's okay.
Yeah,
Wait, Jaws will
just give it
yell?
to me. Yeah, just give it to me after we record. After the recording
Okay,
stops.
okay.
How does that?
I'll put it
Then I'll
in.
just
I'll put it in the through Podmatch. Any
Yeah, that'll work too. Yeah, when you have a screen reader and you're on a Zoom meeting, if somebody posts in the chat, if you don't have your notifications set properly, the screen reader will yell out the message. And my screen reader is set fast enough that a lot of people can't understand it. So yeah, that's
okay.
it's one of those challenges that you just have to laugh off.
Okay. Um, okay. So if you would like to support me on this podcast, you can purchase an audiobook on audiobooks.com or wherever you get your audiobooks, but I'll have the audiobooks.com links for these. So if you like baseball, I have Growing Baseball. If you like hockey, I have Growing Hockey. If you like chess, I have Chess the Game for peace and prosperity. And if you are feeling down on yourself, I have determination, harnessing the power of resilience. Those are all in the show notes below um, on audiobooks.com, and you can also find them on Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your audiobooks. Angela, anything else before I close out?
I think we're good. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
All right, you are welcome. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day.